Hi there. This is Jean Roman with For Dragonflies and Me. Thanks so much for joining me at this week's podcast. As always, I'm super excited to be here sharing gardening, cooking, organizational tips and tricks, chatting about healthy lifestyles, and of course, having conversations with incredible entrepreneurs. If you are a regular listener, you all know that I love to share the backstory with all of you on how I met my podcast guest. And of course, today is not going to be any different. So I met that guy over a decade ago, but during my Mennonite days, actually, behind my table at the Farmington Farmers and Artisans Market. He was a volunteer with the market and always was so happy and energetic about it. He had real passion, is the best way I can describe him. Of course, that's why we clicked. Our hearts were both in that happy place. And if you attend farmers markets, you know it's a happy place. Well, we became fast friends, and soon he became our new market manager. He and I talked a lot, and he was always looking for information and tips on how to make the market successful and just simply great, which he did. The Farmington Farmers and Artisans Market was always a really good market. And by that, I mean, it was generally busy. There was always people meandering and coming there. The vendors always did well. And the customers in Farmington are extremely loyal. They return week after week, rain or shine. The only time they slow up is either if there's a Michigan or a Michigan State at home. So sometimes then they come early, but they head to the game. But in short order, he grew and expanded the market. This gentleman is a go-getter, yet he is humble enough to seek guidance, and he did just that with myself and a few of the other farmers at the market. And to this day, the market is thriving and growing more and more each year under his loving care. And now, 2023 marks 13 years as market manager of the Farmington Farmers and Artisans Market. Having come on board in 2011 as a certified market manager recognized by the Michigan Farmers Market Association, which is MIFMA, known to some people. For 2 years prior to that, he served on the board of directors for the Downtown Farmington Development Authority, the DDA. And prior to the DDA appointment, participated in a multi-year 1997 to 2005 community visioning project that led to the design, funding, and construction of a community pavilion that would serve as the permanent home for this wonderful, wonderful market. So everyone, this is the first week that I've actually videotaped my guest, and I couldn't think of a better person or a better friend that I wanted to do this with. So everyone, help me welcome my very good and old friend, Walt Gajewski, market manager for the Farmington Farmers and Artisans Market, located in Farmington, Michigan. Walt, welcome. I'm so happy and excited to have the opportunity to chat about the importance of farmers markets to a local community and what benefits it brings with you today.
Jean, thank you so much for inviting me today and talking shop. It's still wintertime here in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And I get this just today. I was in the dentist chair, and my dentist was saying, "Well, what do? You probably how many beaches have you been to? It's off season. There's no market." And and ironically, you've run markets too, Jean. You know how it goes.
Yes, I do.
This is actually like the busiest time of year. I mean, we're in the office, as much as the farmers are. They're planting their fields, they're ordering their seeds, right? They're getting ready. They're filling out applications to farmers market. So we're all kind of indoors, but we're kind of laying the groundwork for what winds up being 6 months of being outdoors in our communities, boots on the ground. So these last few years have been very impactful. Obviously, with COVID, it was quite a game changer, I think, for markets throughout our state and probably around the country. I think people really found a newfound awareness for where food comes from, right? And the opportunity to buy food out in the open air has just, I think, has markets kind of at the forefront of everybody's first choice, right? Because you want to buy fresh.
Yep.
And during COVID, it was trying to get as much local as you could. So and I think that continues to this day. Prices are high and inflation is high. People have to spend a lot of money to pay for all the gasoline to bring up a tomato from, south of the border. when you can get that tomato an hour away. So I'm
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
a little bit off tangent here, but so for me, if you want to, kind of segue, get this rolling with,
Okay.
how I came to, the market in Farmington. I didn't grow up in Plymouth, but I lived in the city of Plymouth for a time, and it was a wonderful community. I lived a half a block from the farmers market that was in a wonderful outdoor pavilion called the Gathering Place.
I'm
And
familiar with that.
yes, and I enjoyed going there every Saturday. It was just kind of a way to kind of, after working in an office, I was an engineer at the time, and get outside a little bit and get the fresh air, kind of, get out in community a little bit. I found the farmers market was a perfect, conduit to do that. And then I moved to Farmington, and they didn't have a market that I really saw. If you're living there for a year or two, but apparently there was, and I really didn't know about it. And then one day I'm, driving down Grand River Avenue, and I do a double take when I see a couple of trucks in the parking lot, and the farmers are selling right off the back of their trucks. And there may be 3 or 4 vendors there. And so yeah, I made a mental note to go back and check it out, and I did. And over the course of the next couple of years, it would grow from 3 vendors to 5 or 6, maybe 8, that kind of thing. And just it was a great benefit to be able to have access to some local farmers, but of the farmers market itself, it was kind of operating in a temporary fashion. There was no
Mhm.
market manager, there were no rules, etc. And then I had the opportunity to participate in a community visioning project, where kind of was this pie in the sky thing. What would you like your community to look like 10 years from now, so to speak? So I had a thought that, well, what if the farmers market had a permanent home? What if it had a permanent sense of place? Maybe it could grow up in there, and maybe it could become a real value to the community and add some vibrance and vitality to community life. So, over a number of years, since I moved to Farmington in 1992, and being involved with the visioning from 1997 to 2005, that vision came true.
Yes, it did.
The downtown got behind it. The local stakeholders came in to privately fund a community pavilion. And I think at the time the cost was over $600,000, all privately raised, no tax dollars whatsoever.
That's impressive.
And in the fall of 2005, we opened the Farmington Farmers Market at the Walter Sunquist Pavilion in Riley Park at the corner of Grand River and Grove Street in downtown Farmington, where it still operates and sits to this day.
Yes, it does. Well, that is exciting. And I didn't even know you back then. And I remember so clearly when we did first meet and how passionate you were about the market. So I can't imagine how passionate you were before that. But I remember your excitement about taking it over as our market manager and how all your lofty goals you had for it. And I remember when we worked together to bring the farm to table dinner there. I have so many incredible memories of being a vendor there. And my heart will always be in Farmington, not just with you and my co-vendors then, but also my market friends, and most people call them customers. They were always our friends. I always knew my market friends' kids' name, and I still actually see many of them once a month because I still continue to sell them meat. Every Sunday, meat and eggs. So they were hooked on my stuff, and I said, well, I'm not growing it anymore, but I know people that do, and I can get you stuff. So that's where we're at 9 years later, right?
Right.
Tell my listeners a bit about the market today and what you've done to grow it.
Well, people talk about growing the market, and I'm going to say this for the benefit of any market managers or communities or people who are thinking about starting a farmers market, and how does the farmers market grow? I will tell you honestly, it's not an easy task, but the way you grow a farmers market is by adding more farmers, either to your existing market or trying to bring as many farmers as you can right at the outset. It's very difficult to farmers, as being a farmer yourself. farmers are very, I don't want to say they're resistant to change, but
Get a bit.
it's tough to talk a farmer into coming to a new market. And here's why, right? I mean, they often have to hire more staff. They have to get additional trucks. They have to pick more produce. And what's the guarantee that they're going to be successful? And the product has a relatively short shelf life. You can't bring it back in a week or two, right?
No.
So it's very difficult, in the beginning stages, and it's almost like a chicken and the egg. The farmers are saying, well, if you bring more people in, then we'll bring more farmers in. And I'm looking at it from the perspective, if I bring more farmers, that will attract more people, right? So it's a bit of a fist fight, in the beginning, but the way we grew the market in Farmington was to add more farms. And one way we've done that is to bring in, the new farmers, the boutique farmers, the farmers that are just starting out, that are looking for a 10 by 10 space, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And they do the planning, they do the cultivating, they do the transplanting, do the harvesting, the packing, they create it, they bring it to market, and they sell it. And when they do that, that experience is not lost to the customer, because they start to build relationship, and the passion for food and where food comes from, that becomes a shared passion. So having farmers, especially from all compass points, is guarantees that we are going to have the most of Michigan's 300 agricultural commodities on hand at the market.
It's a beautiful diversity, for sure.
As you know, Gene, you might be at points east, and you could be underwater with green beans, and you're going to have to plow under, and you're going to have to start again. And we may not have them at the market, but if I have a vendor that's 100 miles away, and he's doing just fine, well, we're going to have the green beans, and those farmers are going to get to know each other, because we allow at our market for farmers to supplement up to 25% as long as they purchase from another Michigan farm. So the farmers become stronger as a result of coming together in community, and the community benefits directly from that.
Absolutely. And I think, that was my farm style. We were a co-op. We only had 5 acres on our farm, but then we also shared, I guess, leased an acre and a half of certified organic ground from our farmer down the road, and exchanged for one of our CSA shares. And so again, it was a cooperative, but then we worked with several Amish and other Mennonite and just other growers in our area. We raised the poultry, the eggs, and the pork, but we didn't have enough land to raise beef. And so we worked with 5 or 6 other, organic beef farmers. And it's a beautiful thing. And for us, our customers love that. They loved going to our website and seeing all these other families that they were literally supporting by purchasing their meat and eggs and produce and CSA shares from us, Garden Gate. And, I miss it. I miss being behind the table. And now, this will be my first year not managing a market as well. And so bittersweet, but, what we were talking about earlier, friends, I forgot to mention, be sure to listen all the way through, because Walt and I have some exciting news about the Farmington market and me. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But, Walt, there's live music. You have the pop club, the senior program, cooking demos. There's so many other activities that you do at the market, and many markets do that. It's a real draw. And Farmington has so much to do. It's really the best way to spend a Saturday or any other day of the week that your farmer's market is, in my opinion. I'm generally at a market most weekends year round, and I love to be able to visit markets whenever I travel. Dave and I are planning our honeymoon down south in the first part of September. And I already looked what days the farmers markets are. That's always the first thing on my list, and I know you are too, because it's in our blood, right?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because Mary and I are heading out to the Pacific Northwest here.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks, and we're going to start out in Seattle and make our way all the way down the Oregon coast and over to Portland. And we're going to be passing through small towns and Seattle and Portland. And one of the things I'm Googling is, where are the farmers markets and what days of the week, and can we hit it?
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to say that our very first stop, when we get off the plane in Seattle, we are going directly to Seattle Place Market.
You're lucky Mary loves them as much as you
Throw
do.
that fish.
Oh, I know. Before we book, like, because we're going to be going the first 2 weeks of September, and we're going to Myrtle Beach for Memorial Day, and then we're going to and then we're going to Greenville, North Carolina, and then we're landing in Savannah because that's kind of where we want to retire. But my niece lives in Greenville, and I was like, before I book my days and we planned our schedule, I was like, what day is the farmers market there? So I messaged her. She goes, oh, it's Saturday. I'm like, okay, perfect. But yeah, I mean, I love going to the farmers markets, and I know you do too. You know, when you're a manager, you're visiting other markets, you're meeting. It's such a small community. It's a family. And, you know, it's always fun to chat with other market managers and see what they're doing and brainstorming, getting so many great ideas. But Walt, you and I are both on the same page as far as the benefits of local farmers markets and how fun they are and what they offer for a community. So I would love for you to share your personal thoughts on those benefits with my listeners.
Well, first of all, when you talk about events and you mentioned some of the things that we do, like, live entertainment and so on and so forth. One thing we do is when we open the market, and this year I should have said this right up the get-go, but we open our 30th year of community service.
Whoop, whoop, yay!
2023, we open on May the 6th. Typically we don't open that early, but we'll be open the very first Saturday of May. Knock on wood, it won't be snowing. But when we do, and this is not a knock on any other market, by the way. All the markets are great, and they do what they can for the funding they have, and
that's right.
People they have. But when we open the market, we have benefit of many volunteers. We have a great volunteer core. I think I have a volunteer staff of over 25 to 30 volunteers. So
it's incredible.
When we open the market, opening day is a big celebration to the extent that it has become a tradition. So I'm working right now with the Farmington schools to bring in the high school band. I'm hoping we can get them in uniform this year.
That's awesome.
Brass section as well as a drum line to drum in a color guard.
Oh my gosh.
Who will stand at attention as a special guest, TBD. I'm working on it, to sing our national anthem.
Aww.
And I'll tell you what, when you do that, and I see, veterans out there with, caps over their chest, standing right next to these farmers, and there's tears in their eyes. It's really an emotional moment.
Super emotional. And unless you're there and feeling that,
And it concludes with a ringing of the market bell. We have a market bell. Yes, we ring the bell every Saturday.
Every Saturday. I miss that bell.
On Saturday, 9 a.m. on May the 6th, the collective cheer will be deafening. I can tell you that. And then the music starts, and we all get back to business, and people start reconnecting with each other. And you mentioned, what does the farmers market do for community? But it allows people to reconnect. People come to market on bikes, they come on skates, they come on skateboards, they pull wagons to the market. They bring friends, they bring families, they bring neighbors to the market. And there's that great sense of anticipation. And one of the kicks that I really get, and I hear this several times across the course of the season, and it's every year. I'll be walking by a customer, and I'll hear them remark, well, I don't know what it is about this place, but there's got this vibe thing going on here. I don't know how to describe it, but boy, it feels so good. It's like, is it the vendors? Is it the music? I don't know, but I just feel real good when I'm here. So
it's encapsulating. It's building community, and it's a connection, and it's like you said, it's a gathering place, right, for the community. And it's like, I try, even though I haven't been a vendor at the market, I still try to come at least once or twice a year just to say hi to all my old vendors and you and Mary and the volunteers, because it's a family. It seriously is a family. And I think, over the years, and again, I still have so many of my customers from those years, 9 years ago in Farmington. And I still know their kids' names. And so many of them, like, no, my kids will not eat any other ground beef but yours, Jean. It's like, nope, my kids will not, it's Farmer Jean stuff. I'm like, oh, I wish some days, but yeah, it's community.
Well, think about it, and we can go off in the weeds here, but man went from when mankind went from hunter forager to a farmer and could settle and farm the land. And communities formed around that as a food source, right? And then everybody would come together in that clearing and they would bring something, whether it was an ability to be able to take the harvest and add value by baking bread or making jam, right?
Yeah.
So people brought their skills and they bartered those skills amongst each other, and that's how communities prospered. So it really is in our DNA that when you come to a market, even if it's for the very first time, you're going to feel a sense of belonging, and rightfully so, because it really is a family of people. And I'll say this again before this podcast is over: farmers market really is of the people, for the people, and by the people. It belongs to the people. People say, Walt, well, your market is doing really good. It's not my market. It's not my market at all. The market is wholly operated by the city of Farmington. I play a role, but so does every individual farmer, vendor, artist, and musician, crafter, volunteer, and patron. We're all in this together.
Yeah. And, that kind of goes back to where my initial introduction of you and talks about your, where I talked about your humility. And that was one thing I've always respected about you. You never came in as I know it all. I know how to run it. You always, and even as we're planning what we're going to talk about later, bringing in Peggy so that we can all converse, it's real humble, Walt, and you're a really, really good person. And I cannot say again how honored I feel to be able to call you a friend and to know you. So,
well, thank you. Jean, back when I first came on board, and you run a farmer's market, you're gonna have some speed bumps along the way, right? Some people come to market, they may not be in the best mood that day, or something might have happened, and they didn't have the week that they wanted, and that kind of thing. So I learned a lot from yourself as well as our other farmers. Even for example, when I first had to get on the road and start visiting farms to inspect them, to make sure that what was on their application was actually what they're bringing to the market. Well, how do I inspect a farm? I don't know how to do that. So I had to go to our farmers, and it was you guys, all you farmers, who taught me how to do that, what to look for, questions to ask.
Yeah.
And it does, you have to be humble. I mean, the market is so much bigger than me, quite honestly. I have a lot of administrative tasks that I do. And I'm the guy with the bullseye on his back, right? So
make or break, Walt.
you have to make a lot of people happy, but that's okay. I accept that. And you really kind of, if you're not humble when you start, believe me, you'll be
it will humble you. Yeah. But another aspect of it, as we're talking, I'm thinking about the vendors and how many small businesses start from beginning at a farmer's market. And I know when I was running the winter farmers market, after I started it, 2 of the vendors, actually 3, and I cannot think of the one, I'm a shame on me, but there were 3 of those vendors that actually went on later to be on Shark Tank. And it's like, you never know who is going to come through your market doors and just grow and flourish, and it's like, I'm sure you can relate to that and list off a few vendors that have really expanded.
I've got a great story for you. So we have a vendor at our market. His name is Matt Neo.
Yeah.
And he operates a business called Golden Wheat, right? His store is called Canal, and he features in a very, very broad line of French pastries, the best French pastries,
Yes, they are.
and baguettes and pinwheels. It's really, it's amazing what this man can do to bring such fresh product into the community. So he's been with us for a number of years, and I don't see him too often anymore, but on one occasion, it was last year, he happened to be at the market like around 5:30 a.m., which is around the time that I'm there. And we were talking a little bit, and he mentioned that he's expanding, and he's opened a store in downtown Detroit, another one in Birmingham, another one coming on in Ann Arbor. And I said, well, have you ever thought about Farmington? He said, Walt, I love Farmington. It's the best farmers market. I would love to have an opportunity in Farmington. And I said, well, there's a store down the street. It's where the bakery, we had the bakery, unfortunately, closed its doors.
Sunflower, but
Sunflower Bakehouse. Yeah, they closed their doors. So I said, can you want to take a walk? I took him down there. He looked at the building and said, I'll take it. I said, well, wait a minute. I'm not the real estate agent here. And it turned out the building was sold. I was, oh my God. I know, what are we going to do, right? So I got Matt in touch with the Downtown Development Authority and other leaders in the community where he could reach out, express his interest. The Downtown Development Authority director started knocking on doors to see if any property owners would be interested in possibly selling. And guess what? This year, Canal, aka Golden Wheat, is opening a brick and mortar store in downtown Farmington. It is under construction as we speak.
That is so exciting. I'm so excited for Matt. I've known him for years when I was a vendor there. And I remember when he was behind the table and his son, and he's a good guy. So I'm so happy he has prospered. And, farmers markets really do provide a venue for the community to support those local entrepreneurs and thereby keeping their dollars in their local community, where they can provide fresh and healthy, good food and artisan products as well. But Walt, I was a vendor close to 15 years and a market manager for almost as long. I know you already have your market year planned out. However, I also know we were always on the lookout for new and wonderful vendors. As you know, I'm a huge supporter of small businesses and entrepreneurs, as are you. So can you tell my listeners what it takes to get a table at the Farmington Farmers and Artisans Market?
I can, I was looking at my roster today, and we're surpassing 100 vendors on our roster, and that's awesome. That's never had a roster that size before. Quite honestly, there is a lot of interest in Farmington, and I might be patting myself on the back here a little bit, but or at least let's just say I'm touting Farmington. We have been selected or recognized as Metro Detroit's #1 rated farmers market 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So with that, it's great. It's great to be there. And have that sort of notoriety, but that's, you don't keep news like that to yourself, right? So
no, you don't.
so there's a lot of people who knock on our doors, whether it's the general public wanting to know more about the market, or vendors wanting to come to market. So what we do, if you would like to be a vendor at the Farmington Farmers Market, it's the same process for everyone. And that would be to go to our website, farmingtonfarmersmarket.com, click on vendors, scroll down the page. There is an electronic form. It would, honestly, you don't have to have a lot of experience to fill it out. It would probably take, shouldn't take anyone longer than 2 minutes. It gives you the opportunity to inquire. It's not an application, but we call it a getting to know you form, where you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what your product is, upload some pictures of both your product and your display. And when you hit send, it comes right to the farmers market team here in Farmington, and we generally respond within 24 to 48 hours.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And folks, don't worry if you missed any of those links or website addresses. We'll have all of those both at the blog and also in the description here. So don't worry if you missed anything. We'll make sure you get there, and Walt will see you. But Walt, a market takes strong supporters and money to operate. That's just the way it goes. And you are literally one of the best fundraisers I have ever known. I've mentioned this to you several times, and I've even recommended that MIFMA has you as a speaker on this topic because you are so successful. You literally should write a book on how to grow sponsorships. I'd love to give you the opportunity to reach out to whoever may be listening and looking for that perfect opportunity to provide support. So can you tell my listeners about any opportunities they can have to support the Farmington Farmers Market?
Well, sponsorship is something it's a difficult job. It's my least like task, if you will, going out and asking for money, as it were. But it also turns out to be the most rewarding. And for what it's worth, I'm actually pretty good about it, but pretty good at it. But yeah, I like to tell stakeholders in the community or people who are interested in sponsorship that first and foremost, it lets the people know that you care about what the people care about. I mean, anyone can open their store and punch a cash register and put a product in the bag and say, thank you very much for coming, enjoy your purchase, and then move on. But, to be able to, when you close up your shop at the end of the day and look around the community and feel proud of where you work and where you do business and the people you serve, you can express that by helping give joy to the community by supporting what the community really supports and cares about. So that our farmers market provides that opportunity. Our brand is, as I mentioned, we're very popular. We're the best farmers market around, and we have we brand our merchandise. We have a
Yes,
logo.
you do.
You'll find it on our website, and there's a lot of pride in the 19 sponsors that I have who get to share their logo at our market banner up at the pavilion. And when they do that, they get some back office marketing support from me because I work for the city. The city operates the market, and I have access to assets that private business does not. I can put sandwich boards on city streets. I can hang banners from city buildings. I can put flyers up in City Hall. I have access to the schools. So there's a unique way for businesses to get their name out into the community while also supporting the market with the needed funds that we need to operate, because we receive no tax dollars whatsoever. We are funded only by sponsors and fundraisers and vendor fees.
Yeah. Well, I cannot think of a better way for a local business or even a national business. And I know Beaumont is a sponsor for the Farmington Farmers Market, and you have some significant partners for the market. And I think that speaks volumes to look at that list of sponsors and the number of sponsors. Businesses don't put money where they're not seeing value. The bottom line has got to add up. So when you look at that list of sponsors for the Farmington market, anybody with sense can see, wow, that might be worth spending some money on. So again, friends, be sure to go over to the Farmington Farmers Market. Again, that website link will be in the description as well as at my blog. And so support the market. And if you're not in Farmington, support your local market where you are, because it's those dollars that you put into your community. Again, you're going to get them back. You're going to get them because, like Walt said, people who go to the farmers market love their farmers market. When they see businesses who are supporting what they love, they will go back and support you.
Sure. So, hey, Jean, I got a question for you.
Yeah. What is it, Walt?
Well, talking as we have been, planning for the market season, and you brought a unique opportunity to my attention, which is actually something I'm very excited about, is we are going to be hosting workshops at the market. Something I've always wanted to do is, increase upon the takeaway, I will say this, markets are not transactional, and nothing against the brick and mortar and the superstores, but, it's very difficult because of their size and their model to get much beyond, will that be paper or plastic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But the farmers market every stall, every stand, the product speaks to the person that's behind it. So it's not as much transactional as it is a real takeaway to connect where your food comes from, and also that the market is a resource, whether it's the hospital hosting, blood pressure screenings, or the Michigan Master Gardeners being on hand to help people with their own gardening questions or issues. And with that, we have an opportunity through you, Gene Roman, and your growing business, Dragonflies and Me, to bring back a monthly workshop that will be a Rolodex of various topics, as I understand.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit about when you'll be coming to market and what you'll be educating us to?
Well, how did this role reverse? You're asking me questions now. No, I'm super excited. And friends, this was the teaser that we gave you earlier. Walt and I are super excited to bring these classes to the Farmington community and surrounding communities, because I'm sure more people will come even because of this additional event for the community. So first and foremost, I will be attending in May, and I will be teaching, well, for the year, I'll be teaching 3 gardening and 3 cooking classes. In May, I will be putting together an herb container garden, and I'll have different samples from the vendors at the market who are selling those plants. I'll put one together and then direct you guys to the vendors that are selling those. So again, we're supporting one another and co-promoting. June is going to be super fun because it's strawberry month, and I will be teaching all of their attendees how to make super easy and super delicious freezer strawberry jam, again, from strawberries sourced at the market. So it is so easy, and folks don't know how easy it is. But in July provides an abundance of beautiful basil. So I'll be there teaching how to make pesto.
I love pesto.
Well, I actually taught this class and how to make it on Fox TV too when I was a vendor at the Farmington Market. And so people liked it. August, I'm going to be showing everybody how to in August, I'm going to be teaching everybody how to plan their fall garden. So many people don't realize there's a whole nother harvest that they can have of all the delicious greens, lettuces, kale, spinach. It's just a romantic experience in the fall in your garden. And then also, teaching how to clean up a little bit too from the previous crops. And then September abounds with beautiful tomatoes. As everybody knows, I'm partial to heirlooms, but what I'm going to do is in my cookbook, I have my very popular marinara sauce, and I will be teaching everybody how to make that. So yeah, I know it's delicious. I'll give you some, Walt, don't worry. And then finally in October, I'll be providing all of our attendees with tips and tricks on how to clean up their fall garden. And fall prepping for spring's garden is a much needed thing to do because without that fall prepping, sometimes it gives you more work in the spring. So we want to definitely avoid that. But I'm not giving dates yet because I want to drive all of our listeners to both the Farmington website and to my blog at fordragonfliesandme.com. And all of those classes will be listed there, dates, times, topics, and a slew of other information. So yay, thank you, Walt, for the opportunity. I feel so honored to be back at home, I feel.
Well, Gene, I was, hoping too, and this is, I'm hoping I'm catching you, cold here, but we do want to make, recipes more readily available, on our website, which can be from our farmers, of course. Yeah. But you have a cookbook, and maybe you would be willing to, contribute a few of those delicious recipes. Absolutely. That we can post up on our website.
Absolutely.
And then people can get them all through your cookbook, of course. Yep. To take a sampling of some of these things like the pesto or the marinara. Yeah, I know.
No, just another great way to partnership. And I'm super excited, Walt, because I just was able to acquire to where now I can offer my cookbook as a downloadable PDF for a significant savings off of my soft cover. But my cookbook has over almost 1,000 recipes, over 500 pages. 100 of those are mine. And it's got a great canning section. And so, yeah, I would love to partner with the Farmington Market in every capacity possible. So it's like I said, where my heart is.
Well, Gina, you mentioned canning, and I know that was not something that, I maybe might not be on this year's chalkboard, but, I think these workshops are going to be invaluable, and I think this is a relationship that is going to grow, through the years. That there's just like a market changes all the time. There's so much people can learn and relearn and get reacquainted with it. Canning is just a great topic right there.
Yeah, for sure. But again, Walt, I want to say thank you. I knew this podcast was just going to be so fun. Like I said, you and I have knocked around for a long time, many years, and it's like just reconnecting, and I am so super excited to be there. I've told all of my customers already that I'm going to be there, and everybody's like, can I bring the kids? Oh my gosh. So it's going to be well attended just for my personal customers, but my market friends, not customers. But everybody, thank you so much for being here with Walt and I. And Walt, again, yes, it's been an honor. But everybody, please remember to follow me at my blog at fordragonfliesandme.com. And if you haven't been following me on my Facebook and Instagram, be sure to go on over there, because I post super cool stuff, recipe reels that I don't post anywhere else. And it's always a fun place to be at with For Dragonflies and Me. So thanks again.
We'll see you Saturday, May 6th in downtown Farmington.
Yes, I think sneak peek. I think that's the day I'm going to be there. So anyways, friends, thanks again for joining me today. And until next time, as always, eat fresh, shop local, and have a happy day.
Market.
Bye now.